It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you failed by default. J.K. Rowling was chosen to give a speech at the commencement ceremony in 2008 due to her rising popularity at the time. Her books were at the peak of their time, and she was very well known because of it. If her name was brought up in a conversation, you would have known who she was. She effectively uses rhetorical devices such as illusion and asyndeton, which will be further explained following my examples of Aristotle's appeals, ethos, pathos, and logos, which will also prove she successfully uses. The speech was given by J.K. Rowling, who is a British author. She was born on July 31st in 1965. Her real name is Joanne, or Jo Kathleen, and she changed to her first two initials after a staff member at Bloomsbury Publishing advised her to because their target audience, which was young males, would not want to read her books due to her being a female. The purpose of her speech was to tell her story. She went from a large failure to a great success and endured a long journey after college. She dealt with poverty, which made this very challenging on her. She used her imagination to make the best out of her situation and learned that failure is inevitable. She wanted to send two main themes across: the fear of failure and the importance of imagination, and share her personal experiences and what she learned from them. This speech was given on June 5th in 2008 at the Harvard University, which is located in Cambridge, Massachusetts, to the graduating class of the year. The significance of this speech is that she learned that students at this time had not yet experienced failure due to them being in Harvard, and she wanted to inspire them and send a powerful message to them. She taught them how to make their life based on what mattered to them. Eventually, she did write a book called Very Good Lives. This was her first self-help book, and it was published in 2015. It is still sold today. This speech was given 12 years ago, and it is still important today. Everyone deals with failure at some point, and she took hers and turned it into something great. We should still use imagination to this day to follow our dreams, and we should all know that failure is not avoidable. Failure can actually help aid our success. J.K. Rowling also uses all three of Aristotle's appeals. I found an example of ethos in the quote, "You might be driven by a fear of failure quite as much as a desire for success. Indeed, your conception of failure might not be too far from the average person's idea of success." This proves ethos because she uses credibility through her knowledge and is very considerate towards the students. She tells them the truth straight up and does not lie to them. She also uses pathos, which I found stated in poverty entails fear and stress and sometimes depression. It means 1,000 petty humiliations and hardships. She uses very attention-grabbing words that'll catch your emotions and pull you in, and I thought that they made me think about it a lot more. Lastly, she uses logos, which I found when she explained, "There is an expiry date on blaming your parents for steering you in the wrong direction. The moment you are old enough to take the wheel, responsibility lies within you." I found that she uses logic in this quote and is very reasonable with her thoughts. She also uses many rhetorical devices. The first one I will be talking about is illusion. I found that she uses a lot of illusion, and when she does use illusion, she's alluding to her own series. So the first one I chose is, "Now all I have to do is take a deep breath, squint at the red banners, and convince myself that I'm at the world's largest Gryffindor reunion." Gryffindor is one of the four houses in her Harry Potter series. Someone who has read the books will know what she is alluding to. The second rhetorical device she used is asyndeton, which is the lack of conjunction between phrases. I found this in the way you vote, the way you live, the way you protest, the pressure you bring, the lack of the use, and further proves this example. because it is the most viewed on Harvard's website. And the message she shares is very important to not only young people, but adults as well. The impact she had on others is very important, and she speaks very confidently and with ease. Now I will be showing you a clip of the speech.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
if you let it. So I think it fair to say that by any conventional measure, a mere 7 years after my graduation day, I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptionally short-lived marriage had imploded, and I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. The fears that my parents had had for me and that I had had for myself had both come to pass. And by every usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that failure is fun. That period of my life was a dark one, and I had no idea that there was going to be what the press has since represented as a kind of fairy tale resolution. I had
Just on the right hand side, go down. There.
Yep, found it.
They go up to that. Yep, there we go. Click on it. Good.
As you can see from this short clip of her speech, even when talking about very troubling times, she keeps herself calm and collected, and she speaks very confidently, and I found her very easily to listen to. In conclusion, Rowling's commencement speech to the 2008 graduating class was powerful. She showed rhetorical devices such as allusion and asyndeton, and correctly used all three of Aristotle's appeals. She proved this by showing credibility, logic, and emotion. She pulled the audience in by using this together. She not only inspired the audience, but this is one speech to remember. Thank you for listening.